Well, here we are again at the knotting piece of paper. Well, so something more basic than last time. Last time we did a Turk's head knot, so this time I'm going to do what we call over here a reef knot, but which you might know as a square knot. So the easiest thing to do, I've got two bits of different coloured paracord here so you can see what's going on. So you cross your paracord, your string, whatever, and twist one behind the other, so you end up with something like that. And then you'll see we've got one of the bits of paracord, the orange here, is going on top, and the other, the green, is going underneath. So that's going over the top of the green there, that's going underneath the orange there. So what you want to look for is the one that goes over the top again. So this one goes over the top again, and then you just put another twist in it like so, right? So when you put it tight, what you get, I'll just hold that right up, what you get is two bites. A bite is just a loop that doesn't cross at the top, that are holding on to each other, right? So you can see the orange bite and the green bite, and all they're doing is just clinging on to each other like that. Now what makes the reef knot good is that it's really easy to undo. See, even if you put it really tight, all you really have to do is just to push it back and it'll come loose, right? What makes the reef knot really bad is that it's easy to undo. So if you want anything to be secure, especially a climbing rope or anything like that, then don't go anywhere near a reef knot. You'll just injure yourself. So reef knots are joining knots, so they're used for joining bits of rope or whatever together, but they're not a particularly strong knot. They're good for sort of finishing things off, and they're good for starting. So if you're doing like a Japanese lashing, then you can start that with a reef knot. If you are doing a whipping, there's a couple of whippings that use reef knots, either incorporate the reef knot into them or use them as a start and finishing knot, things like that. But there's no real strain put on it, because if you put strain on a reef knot, particularly if you're only putting strain on one side, then the loops can actually move round each other and the knot will come undone. So it's really no good if you want strength there. But if you want to tie a simple start knot where the rest of what you're working with will hold everything together, which is true in a lashing and a whipping, or you just need something that doesn't need to really hold much in the way of strength. It is good for things like slings. So an arm hasn't really got a weight to it, and if you want to tie a reef knot on the back of a sling, it's really useful because focus. There we go. One of the characteristics of the reef knot is that it is flat. So unlike some bulky knots, it will actually sit flat against someone's shoulder or back and won't dig in and won't cause them any more discomfort than they're already in for having a broken arm or whatever you need to attach this thing to them for. So it is it's useful for a few things. Now, one of the variations of a reef knot is what's called a surgeon's knot, and it is similar to a reef knot. So if we start with our twists again, right? So normally you twist once around, but this time I'm going to go around again, and then I'm going to do the same again. So this one, the orange there is on top, the green is underneath, the orange one goes on top again, and it finishes off just like a normal reef knot with that top twist. So the difference here is, you know, you can see, if I bring it up, you can see there that there are more loops and twists and turns clinging onto each other there. So this makes it a bit more, adds a bit of strength to the knot. And it's called a surgeon's knot because it's often used in tying sutures that don't need to be permanent. They'll eventually dissolve in the body. So, and it's a dead easy knot to tie. Now, for those of you that are rhyme based, there is a rhyme that's this left over right, right over left. Now, it doesn't really matter if you go right over left or left over right, as long as you reverse the rhyme halfway through. But if I go right over left, so this is my right hand in the orange, this is my left hand with the green. So if I go right over left, so orange over green, and then put that twist in it, and then left over right, so right over left, left over right, so we're going orange over green again, like I was showing you before. It's the one that's on top that goes over, and the rhyme exactly mirrors what I was saying before. And we tie, and there's our reef knot. If you are going left over right, right over left, so we're going to green, which is my left this time, so left over right, and we put the twist in the green, and then you can see this time it's the green that's on top, so it's right over left. So we did left over right, right over left. It's got to be the reverse in the rhyme that you use, and then we come up with a reef knot. It is exactly the same knot in either way. You've still got those two bites that slide across each other, and if you remember things by rhyme, it's fine. I prefer to use and teach this this look for the one that's on top, because what it means is you can, if you need to tie a knot quickly, you pick up a couple of bits of string, put a twist in them, then go, oh okay, that one's on top, so that's the direction it'll go through. So that's it really, square knot or reef knot. If you do tie it the other way, you end up with what's called a granny knot. So if I've got the orange over the, normally with a reef knot it would go that way, but if I do it that way instead, so this is left over left, left over left, or right over right, right over right, it comes up with this mess of a knot, which is weak, horrible, and just falls apart. So don't do that. And so that's that. There you go, reef knot, easy. Should be able to eventually just tie it without even thinking or watching what you're doing. Reef knot.